now? Yes. Okay. Cool. So yes, you probably know that as Empire Wallet for sure, but I guess this is something that we should all be aware of, and that's why I'm here. Yes. So the talk is about EIP-7702. A lot of people knows this because of like the story, the drama of an EIP launched in less than 20 minutes by Vitalik with the EA team. But behind it is a lot of, I will call it like a superpower for wallets that actually haven't been used yet, and the reason is security. So first, a bit about myself. Chief Blockchain Officer at Kerberus, protecting 250K users with zero loss, and also involved with the EAL with the Ethereum Foundation, building the interoperability layer for EVMs. So, and how it relates to that, you got it by my background. So, been to account abstraction for a long time, adopted very early, started as a strategic researching for Bioeconomy back then. Eventually that rolled out into a startup that was heavily based on account abstraction. And later, as I mentioned, some collaboration with the foundation related to EIL that is also involved with 437 and 7702. About the security aspect, of course, dealing with wallets users is part of what I'm doing, and obviously we will see that how it relates to that. So I do feel the pain. I do know what the issues are, and that's what I want to share today. But before that, I guess as a start, let's a quick brief about 7702. Technically, it's about new type of transactions that allows to convert EOAs into smart contract wallets. The problem it was aiming to solve is the ability to move forward to account abstraction world. Based on that, like most of the funds are currently located inside the EOAs, inside the accounts. So, and 437 actually bring the account abstraction to Ethereum EVM world, but it was very hard to navigate, and that's part of what messed things up before that. So 7702 allow us to shift the wallet and not the funds. Behind the scene, it actually means to the difference between a wallet and a smart contract wallet is two things mainly: having a storage. That's a bit unrelated to what we discussed today. But the second is having a code hash that is actually a pointer to some code. Means that EOA has no code involved. Smart contract wallet has actually based on code logic. And so we have that. But what happens when you have this kind of transaction and the ability to operate really, really important, efficient functionality that relates to wallet, is that also you get the downside of it. For example, since we shift to code, it's actually full delegation. If you grant you delegate to a contract, that means he owns your funds. If it's not properly handled, then it puts the user in risk. And so we move to a world like that is stable to something that is code-based. And in code, we have bugs. It is what it is. And in that case, you can get like mistakes, but also all kind of frauds and scams that running on a daily basis. The other thing that is related to 7702 that wasn't available before, like for example, on 437, is actually the ability to shift to different delegators very easily. It's actually a transaction, a simple one. And on that case, you mean user can be one thing now, and the next block will be completely different thing as a wallet. So that means it's not just like deploying it at the beginning and you have one version of it. It's actually, the vision is that you're able to put different types of roles or hats as a wallet, and function according to what the user needs are. And that makes it even more complex to take over this kind of functionality and capabilities. But the outcome is that literally no one knows how to handle it, and the immediate action was to take no actions and not support it. So, but hard-coded, it's not supported anywhere. Kind of. Okay, Ember Wallet are here, but there is some progress towards 7702. But generally, it's not really supported, and wallets kind of take the role of being a gatekeeper and decided that they're not going to handle it. There is we're going to talk about like the exception of MetaMask, but that's the outcome. And if you have a hard wallet that works with MetaMask, you actually have two layers of blocking 7702, because both of them actually not allowed it. There is some reason on what or why they're doing that, because it's a lot of responsibility, and no one want to be involved with such a thing. But there is a question before that we need to ask: are they the one to handle this or be the gatekeeper? A couple of fun facts beside MetaMask being having their own hard-coded wallet 7702 support is that someone do use it like very heavily, and those are DEXs. Why? Because it's a great way to handle funds. All the temporary accounts created by DEXs that user deposit funds or even withdrawal funds into used before by, it's like newly generated, and then you deposit funds, and if it's not native token, you actually need to, they had to deposit some ETH into it, like native token, in order to withdraw the funds from that wallet to other wallets. And that's extremely inefficient and very hard to handle, because you don't even know how much gas you need, and on that case, you got yourself into all kind of dust spreaded all over those temporary wallets, and no one like to have a fund spreaded with no use. So DEXs are using that, but again, what they did is to have their own version of 7702 delegator and to use it internally. So again, it's not, I won't consider that as an adoption. But it does prove the ability to use it properly and to get a lot from 7702. Okay, so now, once we nail that, I want to move to like the next step of a discussion about what is missing. I'm not sure about discussion, but to at least list what can be very handy in order to solve it. And you probably won't see answers over here, because this is still an open question and a challenge that it can be reflected to any other security that involved with smart contract wallets. But at least we can see, like, take examples from other places and see what can be done in order to solve it. So, as I mentioned, the gatekeeper role is something that actively taken by the wallet, decided to, they are going to handle it and not let anyone else, or at least block it on their layer, and that means like anyone else cannot be involved with that. And that's a good question, because like for example, we at Kerberus do that such of gatekeeping way better and more efficient. So in that case, it's maybe best for wallets to not be involved in anything and just to have the user the ability to pick who he wants to protect his transaction, his funds, and his functionality that relates to his wallet. But still, now that's the situation. In order to hack it, it's a hack, but if you want to get your wallet as a smart contract wallet, you actually need to take your private key and like script the transaction in order to make this this account as a smart contract wallet. But it's involved with many issues. It's involved with exposing your private key and so on. Not recommended for sure. So right now we are blocked and hope for the best that the next will change that. So again, the gatekeeper role is one thing, but let's see what else can be done. So first communication, assume that we want to have not just a single contract, we want to have multiple, sometimes having different types of roles, dealing with different challenges and so on. On that case, we want to have we want to switch from one delegator to another. Someone need to have this list, or someone need to have the ability to decide what on that list. So first communication is part of it. Now it's actually handled by each wallet, or not at all, as I mentioned. It's hard-coded, so that's the best they can do right now. But obviously, there are better solutions for that. I guess the best one is on-chain storage for this, in a way that it's blocked on the transaction stage, anything that is not whitelisted or not allowed to be delegated to. By the way, it's way better than have that on the extension code of any wallets that is blocking it right now. So that communication is once, because we want to have that list and we want to have it also dynamic. It's going to grow or shrink, so it must be something that a bit better than just like hard-coded into JavaScript extension. The ownership of that whitelist, that's also something that needs to be handled properly. So if we have multiple wallets and each one of them has its own list, that's going to be an issue. And assuming that some wallets actually dominate the market, that gives them a lot of power that, as a users, we probably don't want to have. So taking this list out and have the ability to create some kind of a committee, for example, as I mentioned, will probably do a lot of good to the users and the adoption of 7702. But it can be handled like in many other different ways. But for me, as long as it's like not separately managed by each wallet, that's probably will be a way better solution. What else? And yes, so we discussed that we need to validate some contract, and that's like an issue with any smart contract, not necessary wallets, that to be defined as safe or not. Right now, it's one big of a challenge that there's a lot of, there's a full industry trying to get that in place. It's still not there, so in that case, again, to create some kind of a way that people can submit their delegators and they can be validated, need to get into a higher level of confidence in what we can allow as a delegator. So probably need a definition of what's allowed and how to make it happen. It can be like as an interface or some kind of a guidelines that help who building delegators to put them in place. And we don't have anything related to that. Not even something that will say, okay, let's make it like a flat contract, make a specific calls or some kind of functions that should be supported. It's basically nothing. I think that's obviously the next step, moving forward the 7702. And without it, we're not going to have the real experience of multiple delegators dealing with different challenges and let the user switch from one wallet position to another. Okay, so that's kind of like just a bit of what can be done. The industry still not there or not going there. But future says that since we're going to get soon, I hope, account abstraction integrated into the core protocol with 7701, that will definitely make things way brighter and put us in a position that, that we, users and actually the industry, will move towards 7702 and accelerate this process. The majority of it is still a bit behind, but we're going to see that in the next couple of months once that will be involved. And I guess that's it. Question? But be easy with me.
Okay, so first of all, a correction, Umbire also implements 7702, so thank you for mentioning in the beginning. Also, I think you meant centralized exchange deposit addresses. And the question is, so 7702 makes a lot of sense from the wallet perspective because the wallet provides some functionality for the user and the wallet knows what the exact interface of the delegator is. If the wallet were to support a full whitelist of delegators, then it doesn't make so much sense because the wallet has to implement for each of these delegators a custom interface for batching, partially custom for gas abstraction, not so much because of 4337. But for a wallet, from a wallet perspective, it makes a lot of sense to have your own delegator. Meanwhile, from the DApp perspective, 7702 doesn't make so much sense because even though it simplifies some things, the DApp can implement a lot of those things really on a DApp level. Like for years, the industry has been using Multico and has been inheriting from Multico. So if you want to do batching on a DApp contract, you can do that more easily unless it's some composability use case. So 7702 is like, this is pretty much a universal consensus that it's kind of a way for the protocol of communication is between the wallet and the delegator. And the whitelist really makes sense for hardware wallets because hardware wallets are kind of just like pass-through, of course, except clear signing, which is another topic, but they're just kind of pass-through. So yeah, for hardware wallets, a whitelist makes sense. But for extensions, I think each of them it makes sense to have its own delegator and understand the protocol of speaking to that delegator.
Yeah, so just a bit of a context. We are both biased. So I'm coming from the security extension perspective, and Ivo is from the wallet perspective. So definitely we share some different perspective. But also we work together on like the EAL project and supporting, and also on 7702. So Ivo definitely know what he talk about. But yes, I understand why wallets want to have such kind of a position of like, okay, we know how to handle it. It's better for us to support it properly. But again, like we list a couple of elements that can be relevant. One of them is standardization of delegators, and on that case, it's going to solve what you mentioned as like we need to support different functions, different functionality, and so on. So you need to have the full pack, and on that case, it will make it much easier to handle for wallets and for users also.
Actually, I might argue that if there is such an effort to standardize everything, then there is no point of multiple delegators to begin with, because the EF can just make a delegator that everyone can work with. Like one example of this is if we had a standardized interface for batching, we already have a standardized interface for gas abstraction, which is 4337. So in this case, like everyone can use the same delegator. But yeah, and the other thing is, if a wallet extension is built to work with its own delegator, then there's no security problem to begin with. But I do agree with you that the security problem still exists for hardware wallets because they still need some authority to tell them, look, this is the whitelist.
About standardization, I mean by that like there's some kind of a sense of standardization to start the process, not necessarily full, and I mean by an interface and not necessarily the functionality behind it. And the context of having like multiple delegators is to have the ability to use different validators for different reasons. So you have a specific functionality. It's not a full wallet. It's just like a specific functionality, and you shift between delegators according to what you want to do now, for the close future and so on. And in that case, it's like it does make sense to have multiple.
Yeah, but EIO was a good example.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good example, but yeah, it's a long discussion. So yes. Anyone else? Tzachi, you want to ask something? No, you don't want to ask something. Okay. So thank you.
Thanks so much.